Why do cities shine so bright? It's the glow of opportunities, of ideas bouncing off one another, of countless people, every one of us, striving to succeed. Right now, in cities everywhere, ideas are being born. New thinking that will put us in awe of what people are capable of. That's what lights cities up, and helping people and their ideas to burn even brighter, so that communities, businesses, and you and I can grow. What if a bank made that its job? For more than 200 years, Citi's job has been to help empower people and business. Now, around the world, it's wherever people gather, wherever ideas come alive. It's wherever you are.
Citibank is a global consumer banking network which provides loans to clients, including the well-known credit card access, deposit transaction, remittances, mortgage, loans, and excess money to various investments. First known as the Citibank of New York, Citibank is founded in 1812 by Samuel Osgood, who was a statesman and former colonel. His partner, Moses Taylor, shared ownership and was in charge of the management bank in the bank. They successfully built the company, especially after they joined the U.S. new national banking system in 1863. In 1897, the National City Bank of New York begins its expansion in foreign countries as one of the first major banks to do so. Nowadays, Citibank has expanded to 36 countries with 3,777 local branches globally, making Citibank the third largest bank holding company in the U.S. Meet Vikram Pandit. He was one of the most respectful CEO in Citibank's history. He led the company from the economy crisis back in 2008 and managed to restabilize the company's assets once again. He was the CEO until the year 2012 before he was replaced by Michael Korbat. With a very big network, companies in America rely on Citibank, so it makes it easier for American companies to reach out to other companies or branches in the world. It operates globally, which gives access to the highest trade services network in the world. These companies in America work with Citibank to connect financially with people to different places in the world. As the world continues to evolve in economic globalization, there will always be more American companies willing to gain international access with Citibank and increasing America's economy because it would have an increase to their assets. USA is at the heart of the world's economy with most of the largest financial institutions that was founded there. In addition, the US dollar is used in most international transactions, so anything that happens with the US economy will affect the international finances in a substantial way. USA is also where the global financial crisis began to expand. The financial crisis that happened in 2008 started in the meltdown of the American subprime mortgage market and lower interest rates, particularly in the United States. The subprime mortgage revolves around the failure of securities. Securities are tradable assets as a guarantee payment, so if a company or individual made a purchase, they would have to give their guarantee of payment by issuing a security. This is very common, especially for average people who purchase real estates. But before that, let's go back to how subprime mortgage started. The real estate pricings began to rise before the crisis even began. Many banks and financial institutions in the US gave the housing loan to their customers. To collect the money, many of those banks and financial institutions borrowed the money by issuing the securities with housing loan is used as the collateral, and bank or financial institute receive the cash as compensation. The source of repayment from the securities sold will come from the collected money of the loan. Furthermore, other banks and financial institutions who purchase the securities resell the securities by issuing the new securities with the collateral securities that they bought. However, this leads to the damage and crisis of financial institutions because people begin to get loans easily from Citibank. The loans, which are easy to get, were too much, and there were too much subprime mortgages piling up with increased debt burden that a lot of people couldn't afford to pay as housing prices continue to escalate as well. This damages financial institutions because people can't afford paying their mortgage, and this affects the mortgage brokers who sold the securities. The crisis is known as the credit crisis that tanks the US economy with subprime mortgages, collateralized debt obligations, frozen credit markets, and credit default swap. This results in threats that Citibank itself might collapse, along with other financial institutions. In addition, because of the financial crisis, it faces the loss of key businesses and declines in consumer wealth. This is where the US government comes in. Citibank suffered huge losses that was rescued in November 2008 in a massive stimulus package by the US government. So Citibank has to seek federal financing to avoid the company from collapsing. On February 27, 2009, Citigroup announced that the United States government would take a 36% equity stake in the company by converting US $25 billion in emergency aid into the shares to prevent the bankruptcy of the largest bank in the world at the time. The government guaranteed losses on more than 300 billion troubled assets and injected 25 billion immediately into the company and guarantees to risk assets, thus solving their financial needs to prevent them from falling apart. In exchange, the US government asked for a share in the stocks. With Citibank overloaded with increased debt burden and unpaid mortgages, this financial institution is starting to fall apart. Citibank played a significant role in the global financial crisis as the biggest bank in the US at that period of time. The banking industry is large and is the most significant industry in the USA today. As everyone, the USA needs the bank to support their financial needs, one way or another. And with clients up to 200 million, most of them depend on Citibank for their loans, credit, mortgage, and such. When Citibank has a problem, it will affect the customers that rely on Citibank in America. This is because the majority of America is customers of Citibank. They depend on Citibank, and it may affect